All right, let's get right into it. We're talking about something huge today, a new kind of gold rush that's happening right under our noses. This isn't just about tech or money, it's about global power, and the race is definitely on.
And that brings us to the big central question, doesn't it? One country has a death grip on the materials that literally power our modern world. So is that grip unbreakable? That's what we're here to figure out.
Just look at this number for a second. 98%. I mean, that's insane. We're talking about the super powerful magnets that are essential for, well, everything. Your EV, wind turbines, even military hardware. And when it comes to making them, almost every single one comes from China. That's not just a big market share, that's basically a monopoly.
So let's break down what this really means. We need to understand the problem, because this isn't just some business headline. For the rest of the world, it's a massive, massive vulnerability.
First off, what are we even talking about? Rare earth elements. Now, the name's a little misleading. They're not actually that rare. The tricky part is finding them all bunched together in a way that's cheap enough to mine. And these 17 elements, they're the secret sauce in everything from the phone in your pocket to the jets in the sky. They are, no exaggeration, the building blocks of our entire modern economy.
And here's where it gets really interesting. See, China's power isn't just about digging rocks out of the ground. That's the easy part. As you can see, they control the whole dang supply chain. They mine a lot of it, yeah, but the real checkmate move is in the processing. They refine over 90% of it, and then, as we saw, they make virtually all the finished magnets. That gives them a level of control that's, well, it's hard to even put into words.
And make no mistake, this isn't just some theoretical power they have. They're already using it. As part of the ongoing trade disputes, China started turning the screws, hitting the brakes on exports of these critical materials. The supply chain has officially become a weapon. And yeah, the first shots have absolutely been fired.
So what's at stake here? What's the damage? Well, according to Goldman Sachs, a major shutdown of this supply chain could cost the global economy $150 billion. That's not chump change. That is the kind of number that makes governments snap to attention, and fast.
Okay, so with that much money and national security on the line, you better believe the West is scrambling to fight back. So let's meet the contenders, the companies that are trying to build a whole new supply chain from scratch. When you cut through all the noise, two names really stand out from the crowd. MP Materials right here in the US and Lynas Rare Earths down in Australia. Now these guys aren't messing around with other stuff. Their entire business, 100% of it, is rare earths. They're what you call a pure play, and they are, without a doubt, the leaders of the pack outside of China. But, and this is a big but, getting into the space isn't as simple as just buying a stock ticker. The reality is super complex, and you gotta be in it for the long haul. So let's pop the hood on the biggest Western player, MP Materials, and see what's really going on. Okay, check this out. Just a little while ago, MP Materials was an absolute profit machine. We're talking insane 80% gross margins. But look at what happened recently. Profitability just fell off a cliff. Now, if you just saw that, you'd probably think, whoa, huge red flag, right?
But here's the twist. That drop isn't a sign of failure. It's actually a sign of their strategy working. See, for years, all they did was dig up raw stuff and ship it to China to get processed. Easy money. Now they're making a really tough, really expensive pivot to build the entire supply chain right here in America. It crushes their profits now, but it's the only way they can ever truly break free. Short-term pain, long-term gain.
And this, my friends, is the game changer. The US government isn't just sitting on the sidelines. The Department of Defense came in and gave MP Materials a 10-year contract that guarantees them a minimum price for their product, $110 a kilogram. That's a massive safety net. It basically takes a huge chunk of the risk off the table and makes sure this critical project doesn't go belly up.
And here's the game plan. They're starting small, just 1,000 tons of magnet production a year. But that's just the start. The plan is to scale this thing up, step by step, until they launch a massive new facility in 2028 that's 10 times bigger. This is more than a business plan. It's like a national industrial project in the making.
Now, because this story is so big and so important, it's attracted a ton of hype. A ton of it. So we've got to talk about how you can tell what's real and what's just a bunch of noise.
I love this quote. It's blunt, but it's kind of perfect. A lot of the chatter you see online, especially on what people call FinTwat or financial Twitter, is just pure speculation. It's people betting on tiny companies with no revenue, no product, nothing but a story. The real action isn't in the daily hype cycle. So, how do you do it? How do you separate the signal from the noise? Well, the signal is focusing on the established leaders, the ones who are actually producing, like MP and Lynas. The noise is all that chatter about no revenue penny stocks and SPACs. The signal is taking the time to understand the long-term industrial plan. The noise is getting caught up in the flavor of the week hype. Here it is, the single most important question you can ask to cut through all the BS. Forget the fancy PowerPoints and the promises of the future. Just ask, how much of your money right now, today, comes from actually selling rare earths? For MP and Lynas, the answer is 100%. For a whole lot of these other guys, it's 0.
All right, so let's put a bow on this. After all that, what's the bottom line? Let's boil it all down to the key things you really need to know about this new rare earth gold rush.
Here's your 4-point briefing. First, demand for these things is about to go through the roof, all thanks to green tech. Second, this is all being driven by geopolitics now, forcing governments in the West to open their wallets. Third, the real story is with the proven leaders who are already digging stuff up. And fourth, buckle up. It's going to be a bumpy ride with a lot of ups and downs.
And look, don't just take it from me. This quote from Al Jazeera lays it out perfectly. This is not a problem that's going to be solved next year. We're looking at a 10, maybe 15-year project to build a real alternative to China.
So let's just be crystal clear about this. This is a marathon, not a sprint. For anyone watching this space, the next really big moment on the calendar, it's probably 2028, when that huge expansion for MP materials is supposed to come online. That's the milestone to watch.
And that leaves us with one final, much bigger question to think about. As all these countries fight for control of these critical elements, as we all push for a greener future, you have to wonder, in this new global race, what is the true